who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that... Welcome, Eldorados, to our vast and ever-growing audience of like-minded people who believe in free market and personal responsibility. Maximum personal responsibility means maximum personal acceptance of things that go well and when things go wrong. We have special editions, which is called And Another Thing, and this is our, I think it's third or fourth now. The topic of this week, of course, is guns and guns, oh, and by the way, and guns. And what has been fascinating is to watch the Piers Morgan show on CNN. I haven't seen his numbers, but I bet you his ratings are up substantially, not because his show is any better as far as he's concerned, but because for the first time, you're finding a left-wing guy bringing on people who know what they're talking about on another issue on the other side of the aisle and having reasoned debate. At first, Piers Morgan wasn't reasonable. He was yelling, he was screaming. He called Larry Pratt, the head of Gun Owners of America, an incredibly stupid man, and said, you don't really give a damn about the children of Sandy Hook, blah, blah, blah. That's the way left-wing people normally handle things, and Piers clearly got his head handed to him because all of a sudden... The thing I notice about your show is that you tend to take more calls from people who know right up front they disagree with you than ones that agree with you. Why is it you take that approach? Well, I take that approach for a number of reasons. The first reason is that it's just be more entertaining to watch people have conflict than to watch people say, hey, right on, right on, right on, megadiddles, megadiddles. No slight to Rush. I think Rush is a genius. I'm just saying when you have a call where people are simply completing your sentence or seconding your sentence or adding another wrinkle to something you said before, that's less entertaining than somebody that's challenging something that you said. So I want the show to be first and foremost entertaining because nobody gives a rip if it's not entertaining. If it's not compelling, you can be as brilliant as you want, as persuasive as you want, have all the facts lined up as orderly as you want, and nobody will care. So I've got to make the show entertaining, and a good, reasoned, frisky debate is far more entertaining than a yowza, I love you, Larry kind of call. Okay? And the second reason is I want my ideas to be tested. I want you guys to see I can stand up against withering fire. People are going to disagree with me. They're going to disagree with me about whether or not we should be defending Israel, how much aid we should be giving to Israel. They're going to disagree about how we should fight the war on terror, whether or not we should have gone into Iraq. I can go on and on and on. They're going to disagree with me about how much racism I believe is in America, whether or not the Republicans were trying to disenfranchise black people, whether or not there's been a war against women, whether or not the Lilly Ledbetter Act was a good act or a bad act. You name it, people are going to disagree with me. The question is, when you have reasoned disagreement, as opposed to nutcases, people calling you names, you write people like that off. When people call you names, that means they're out of ammo. The one you ought to be concerned about are these yahoos, people like that on MSNB Hee-Haw. People that are not stupid, but they're just wrong-headed. They start from the wrong premise, and they therefore end up at the wrong place. Those are the ones you need to be concerned about. And so how do you stand up to that kind of fire? These are the kinds of people who are at work. These are your uncles. These are your relatives. These are the people that you have to engage in and with. How do you do it? And you do it by understanding their other side. I had a professor in law school, and he said, here's what you have to do in order to win arguments. Understand your opponent's argument fully and thoroughly, better than your opponent understands it. Only then can you assess where your opponent is weak. And then understand your argument. Ask yourself, if you were debating yourself, what would you do to undermine your own arguments? And you're doing this not to win a debate. You're doing this to make sure that you're confident about your point of view. You're trying to make things better. The only way you can make things better is to put out good information, good policy. So by doing this, you're going to make your policy better. You're going to figure out where there are problems, where there are flaws, where there are inconsistencies, and you'll be able to deal with that. That way you'll be able to advance the argument better. So that's why I do it, to show you this is how you deal with an argument. This is how you handle it. You're going to find yourself under withering attack sometimes. This is how you steel yourself, and this is how you defend your position. That's why I do it. If you want to do something about murders, really, you got two major options. The first is to confiscate every gun here, in which case you're going to have a little problem with something called the Second Amendment. The second thing is, and I'm serious about this, you really want to do something about lowering the possibility of gun violence. Don't give any single parent any government welfare. Require anybody who's getting government welfare for a child to be married to the child's father. And I'm telling you, that in and of itself will dramatically lower the number of children born outside of wedlock and the number of children who go into crime and go into bad things, because a father in the house is a far greater predictor of success. If you want to talk about which is a bigger problem, the non-existence of a father in the house or the presence of a gun in the house, it's door number one, babe, every time. I hope you enjoyed this small excerpt. If you want to see the full video, got to be in El Dorado. Go to my website, larryyoder.com, log in, fill out the form. It'll cost you about $4.75 a month, or about the price of a mocha frappuccino latte at your favorite coffee house. As you can tell, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea drinker. See you next time.